dude, haven't made these movies with green screens. I mean, I've made a bunch of movies where I'm, talking to an ex on a green screen. I mean, this was amazing because we shot at night. It was really hot in Puerto Rico, so you kind of really were into that kind of the feel of the element. And then we had these giant 7-foot dudes in wolf costumes that were made by some of the best people ever to do it. Alec so it was kind of actor proof.
7 total, and so we had the job of trying to make 7 look like countless many more. But that was something that we also loved, is just trying to give each one of these werewolves personality.
We talked a few months ago, and you gave me a heads up that this movie was going to blow my mind, and wow. Wow.
Fucking great. I thought you were going to say you were wrong.
Absolutely not. This is the werewolf movie I've always wanted.
I love it.
What was your reaction when you were approached for this project?
Initially, I just was sent the script, and I read it, and I loved a couple of things, couple of elements. Practical wolves. I thought that's fresh. And I thought the whole premise, the idea, was something because I'm a fan of werewolf movies, of genre movies, and I thought this is an idea I've not seen. I've not seen this, where it's a pandemic of werewolves. And then I spoke to Steven, the director, and I was like, I'm in, man. This is going to be great. This is going to be fun. And I have to tell you, this was a movie we made on a budget, and they put a lot of dough and a lot of time into the post-production. And when I saw the movie, I was like blown away by how big it looked and felt. So it's great to be part of something where people really cared from the beginning right to the end.
Well, and with all the practical effects, how was it to actually have these monsters physically on set and be able to interact with them?
Oh, dude, haven't made these movies with green screens. I mean, I've made a bunch of movies where I'm, talking to an ex on a green screen. I mean, this was amazing because we shot at night. It was really hot in Puerto Rico, so you kind of really were into that kind of the feel of the element. And then we had these giant 7-foot dudes in wolf costumes that were made by some of the best people ever to do it. Alec so it was kind of actor proof. It was kind of great, man. It was I liken it to when I did The Gray. Stuck out in the cold, 30 degrees below zero, with these wolves chasing us. You don't have to act. It was even the worst actor was okay.
Well, and Stephen C. Miller has such a kinetic style. Like, as a viewer, I love the energy of his movies. As an actor, can you talk about what makes Stephen such a special director?
It's that, I think kinetic is the perfect word. He loves movement. He loves, from the beginning to the end, he wants the audience to feel like they're moving. They're involved in what's happening. And he's got a gift for it. He really does. I'm telling you, this movie, for the money that it was made for, what this guy made it look like, and the DP, Brendan Cox, it's a gift. It's not easy to pull off. He was working with all this practical wolves with guns going off in Puerto Rico. The way he had this in his mind, the way he assembled it, it's nothing short of a miracle. I mean, look, Ridley Scott went and made Gladiator. He had $250 million in 6 months.
Well, and we've seen like zombies and vampires in cinema for years, and werewolves are always very few and far between. Why do you think it's taken till 2024 for werewolves to finally get their due?
Because I think the werewolf movie, the werewolf genre has been just repeated over and over and over again. The one guy that becomes a werewolf and he doesn't realize it's him that's killing the village at night, and he comes back and he wakes up naked. He's going, maybe it is me. Well, maybe it's not me. Like, we've seen that, 100 times. So this is entirely, I keep saying it's like The Purge meets werewolves.
Good luck tonight.
Canopy retraction commencing.
I first heard about Werewolves when talking to Frank a few months ago, and his excitement for this project was infectious. After seeing it, I now get it. This is such a blast and finally feels like werewolves are given their due. What made you want to tell this story?
I just loved how many werewolves were bouncing around in this script. Like when I read it for the first time, I couldn't believe how much was happening, and I felt like there hadn't been a werewolf movie like this. It's usually the slow burn, one werewolf per movie, and for me to get a chance to create multiple werewolves, almost like a world of werewolves, it seemed like a no-brainer.
How many total werewolf suits did you have on this?
7 total, and so we had the job of trying to make 7 look like countless many more. But that was something that we also loved, is just trying to give each one of these werewolves personality.
Yeah. Well, and I love how you shoot the werewolves. You stay on them for just the right amount of time. Did that come from a lot of film study of other werewolf movies, or was that honed in the edit?
Yeah, it was both. I mean, you look at other great werewolf movies and you realize they don't sit on them very long, because obviously the more you see them, the less scary they become. But at the same time, in the edit, we were just sort of honing in on how much we wanted to see them, because I wanted to give the audience more in this movie, more than they really normally used to. So it was definitely in the edit. We were trying to hone in on what's enough, what's too much, that kind of thing.
When everyone always bashes CGI, especially when it comes to werewolf transformations, yet the transformations in this are so expertly handled. What was the key to pulling those off without making them look like digital and waxy?
I think the key was trying to mix both, is that we were practically trying to do it, and I knew that the practical would only get us so far, money, time, all that stuff. So we already designed it very early on with my visual effects, supervisor to sort of mix the two. And also the visual effects were to match my practical. It wasn't like I was trying to get practical to get to a visual effects standpoint. I was really honing in on the visual effects guys matching what I had already done practically.
Yeah. Well, and despite being an absolute blast, the film also still has a serious tone. How do you balance that without going too far in either direction?
That's the hardest part, because you want to make sure that the audience is having a good time. You want to make sure they're feeling like they're in a movie that's fun. But at the same time, you got to give the movie some heart. You got to give the movie some kind of serious tones. It's the same way when I did Silent Night, is trying to battle those tones. But I think that's something that I enjoy. It's something that kind of keeps me on my toes. That's really what I have fun doing.
Well, and you've had a varied career at this point. What is your dream project in the horror landscape?
I think something like, for me, that would be a dream, is probably to tackle vampires. I know that's been done. I know there's a ton of it, but it's something I haven't been able to do, and I would love to bring a new spin on it. I'm trying to work with a few people on one. But yeah, I think I would love to tackle the vampire space.
Well, and it seems like Werewolves, there's still potential for this world. Do you have any interest in doing a sequel?
We are already gung-ho trying to figure out a sequel, because I love this world. I think there is, you're right, a lot more to tell. We just couldn't with this one, but we're ready to go to do another one for sure.
I would be remiss if I did not say to you how much I love Silent Night and think it's one of the best remakes ever. It is so underrated.
Oh, dude, I really appreciate that. It's one of my favorite movies.